ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algérie. I'm your host, Maysa Doumas. To the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, congratulates in a tweet the Algerian boxer Iman Khalif. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, presents his sincere condolences to the family of the deceased, the Mujahid or war veteran, Major General Ali Bouhidja. And we invite you to listen to the reactions of few foreign companies' representatives on the new draft investment law. Following the instructions of the President of the Republic, the Ministry of Transport unveiled its complementary air and maritime transport program for the year 2022 in anticipation of the summer season. Those are today's headlines. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, congratulates in a tweet the Algerian boxer Iman Khalif, who won the silver medal at Women's World Boxing Championship, which took place in Istanbul. He said, quote, "Congratulations, and I wish the best for all the athletes participating in the upcoming Mediterranean Games," end of quote. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, Supreme Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, presented his sincere condolences to the family of the deceased, the Mujahid or war veteran, Major General Ali Bouhidja, and to all the elements of the National People's Army, praying Allah Almighty to welcome him in his vast paradise. Following the death of the Mujahid or war veteran Major General Ali Bouhidja, the Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Major General Saeed Shingriha, offered his best on behalf and on behalf of the members of the National People's Army, his sincere condolences and his deep compassion to the family of the deceased, praying Allah Almighty to welcome him into his vast paradise and grant him and his family and loved ones all the courage and strength in this difficult ordeal. The Mujahid or war veteran Major General Ali Bouhidja was buried on Friday in Sidi Fraj Cemetery here in Algiers in the presence of the Minister of Mujahideen, Al-Eid Rbiqa, and representatives of the civil and military authorities. During the funeral, Al-Eid Rbiqa recalled that the deceased is one of those who sacrificed their youth for the independence of Algeria during the National Liberation War. The deceased was able to obtain a rich experience which he was able to put to the service of the National People's Army after independence. The new investment law was adopted on Thursday at the end of the Council of Ministers meeting presided by the President of the Republic, Supreme Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense Abdelmajid Tebboune. More details with Min Al-Ammari.
Adopted on Thursday, the new law related to investment showcases the President of the Republic's will to boost the national economy as part of a global and stable vision, in accordance with the provisions of the 2020 Constitution. The new investment law portrays the President's commitment pertaining to the setting up of an attractive investment climate, free from bureaucratic obstacles. The new measures include the creation of an independent high-level mechanism composed of judges as well as economic and financial experts to strengthen the judicial system and protect investors from bureaucratic abuse. Placed under the Presidency of the Republic, this mechanism will be responsible for adjudicating complaints and appeals submitted by investors. Putting investors at the heart of the interests, the President of the Republic highlighted that anyone that interferes in one way or another in investment operations, regardless of their position or responsibility, will be severely punished. Thanks to the new investment law, the National Investment Development Agency, ANDI, will from now on be known as the Algerian Agency for Investment Promotion under the Prime Minister's authority, with a focus on an investment promoter and companion role through the creation of a single desk with national competence for big projects and foreign investments, and the creation of desks for decentralized local investments. By strengthening their prerogatives, this agency will work towards easing administrative measures by fighting bureaucracy through the digitization of procedures linked to investments via the creation of a digital investor platform and the immediate delivery of the investment project registration certificate. The new bill also plans the expansion of the transfer guarantee scope of invested funds and the receipts for non-resident investors. At the end of the meeting, the President of the Republic instructed the government to finalize the text related to different agencies in charge of the land and finalizing the land basis census operation, available or unexploited, in order to make them available to investors in a transparent and rational way. The effective launch of the realization of various projects registered under the Supplementary Development Program of Khanchla Province was also decided, as well as the immediate implementation of the proposed program to strengthen the International Air and Sea Services Program for the summer season.
This law was long awaited by economic investors. The specialists welcomed these new measures considered as vital for the economic recovery. Leticia Sidqawi has more.
Highly anticipated, the adoption of the draft law on investment keeps its promises, with a series of new measures to encourage investment and give a boost to the national economy. For local investors, this is intended as a signal from the President of the Republic, who has committed to making 2022 a year of economic recovery with excellence. This new law includes numerous incentives and tax facilitations that encourage investment, reinforced by a political will to reinvigorate the national economy. Thanks to this new investment law, all forms of abuse of power in the treatment of investors' files are banned. Mechanisms to fight bureaucracy are established to guarantee conditions of transparency. It is about fighting bureaucracy through the digitization of procedures related to investment by the creation of the digital platform of the investor and reducing the examination times to less than a month. For their part, economic actors welcomed the creation of an independent authority to protect investors from bureaucratic abuses, aimed at installing a new dynamic, giving more confidence to the operators and boosting domestic and foreign investment.
This new law strengthens the judicial system to protect investors from bureaucratic abuses and of administration that have penalized both local and foreign investors over the long years.
Another novelty is the extension of the scope of guarantee for the transfer of invested funds and the revenues for non-resident investors. It is also a matter of setting up investment incentive systems in priority sectors in all regions of the country, without exceptions. Facilitations are granted to encourage investment, particularly in the high plateaus and the south. Enriched and refined after several consultations, the new investment law pays particular attention to investors by guaranteeing the appropriate conditions to unleash the spirit of initiative and diversify the economy.
We invite you now to listen to the reactions of few foreign companies' representatives on the new draft investment law adopted by the government.
This is truly great news. It can allow enterprises like ours to develop the market inside of Algeria. For us, this is the first time that we come here. We already can see that it can be a very interesting market that it is developing. This law can help the cooperation between the two countries. We are feeling very good about these new opportunities of cooperation and to work together. This can only be a positive matter. With these new measures, we will be ready to invest in Algeria. It is great news and is exactly what we want, something to help us to move forward and to be able to help and gain like everyone.
Following the instructions of the President of the Republic, the Ministry of Transport unveiled its complementary air and maritime transport program for the year 2022 in anticipation of the summer season, a program that will relieve hundreds of thousands of compatriots around the world. Details with Rania Al-Bahri.
The additional program to strengthen air and maritime transport for summer season 2022, air services to Europe. Algiers, Paris, Algiers, 24 additional flights per week to reach 52 flights per week, including 3 flights for the benefit of Tassili Airlines. Oran, Paris, Oran, 12 additional flights per week to reach 19 flights per week. Algiers, Marseille, Algiers, 11 additional flights per week to reach 14 flights per week. Oran, Marseille, Oran, 5 additional flights per week to reach 7 flights per week. Constantine, Marseille, Constantine, 1 additional flights per week to reach 3 flights per week. Algiers, Lyon, Algiers, 4 additional flights per week to reach 11 flights per week. Oran, Lyon, Oran, 4 additional flights per week to reach 7 flights per week. Constantine, Lyon, Constantine, 2 additional flights per week to reach 5 flights per week. Algiers, Toulouse, Algiers, 4 additional flights per week to reach 6 flights per week. Oran, Toulouse, Oran, 4 additional flights per week to reach 7 flights weekly. Algiers, Nice, Algiers, 1 additional flights per week to reach 3 flights weekly. Algiers, Montpellier, Algiers, reopening up to 2 flights per week. Oran, Montpellier, Oran, reopening with 2 flights per week. Bijaya, Paris, Bijaya, reopening up to 7 flights per week. Annaba, Paris, Annaba, reopening up to 7 flights per week. Sétif, Lyon, Sétif, reopening to 4 flights per week. Annaba, Marseille, Annaba, reopening up to 3 flights per week. Tlemcen, Paris, Tlemcen, reopening to up to 4 flights weekly. Algiers, Nantes, Algiers, reopening with 2 flights weekly with Tassili Airlines. Algiers, Strasbourg, Algiers, reopening with 2 flights per week by Tassili Airlines. Constantine, Strasbourg, Constantine, reopening up to 1 flight per week by Tassili Airlines. Oran, Strasbourg, Oran, reopening with 1 flight per week by Tassili Airlines. Oran, Vienna, Oran, opening of 2 flights per week. Oran, Istanbul, Oran, reopening with 13 weekly flights. Algiers, Antalya, Algiers, reopening with 7 flights per week. Algiers, London, Algiers, 1 additional flight to reach 5 flights per week. Algiers, Frankfurt, Algiers, 2 additional flights by Tassili Airlines to reach 5 flights per week. Algiers, Rome, Algiers, 1 additional flight by Tassili Airlines to reach 5 flights per week. Oran, Lisbon, Oran, opening of 2 flights per week. Oran, Frankfurt, Oran, opening of 1 flight per week. Algiers, Moscow, Algiers, 1 flight per week. Concerning the Arab Maghreb region and the Middle East, the program covers the following flights. Oran, Cairo, Oran, opening of 7 flights per week. Oran, Tunis, Oran, opening of 7 flights per week. Algiers, Tunis, Algiers, 7 flights per week. The additional program provides other flights on the African network as follows. Algiers, Nouakchott, Algiers, 1 additional flight to reach 2 flights per week. Algiers, Dakar, Algiers, 2 flights per week. With regards to long flights, the program has provided 10 additional flights. Algiers, Beijing, Algiers, reopening 2 flights per week. Algiers, Montreal, Algiers, 3 additional flights to reach 8 flights per week. For maritime transport, 5 new trips are scheduled, bringing the total number of sea trips to 7 as follows. Bijaya, Marseille, Bijaya, opening of 1 trip per day. Algiers, Marseille, Algiers, 2 new trips per week to reach 3 trips per week. Skikda, Marseille, Skikda, opening 1 trip per week. Oran, Marseille, Oran, opening 1 trip per week.
Algeria loses one of its main pillars in cinema and theater. The 78-year-old Ahmed Ben Isa, we go through his fruitful journey with Najah Tayyar.
A personality, a character, and a huge charisma. a simple, generous and modest man who gave it all. He dedicated his entire life to the Algerian cinematography, a passionate actor who rose from the Algerian comedy and theater, and a lover of literature and culture. Late Boudia and Mustafa Katib, God bless them, did a tour across the country and auditioned a lot of actors so that they do the accelerated internship since there was the National Theatre creation.
راني كما تعرفني يا بابا. واشنو؟ وقيلا انت تاني تخدم ما عندكش الوقت. الوقت عندي بزياده. نضرب في الطرقان. واليوم سمعت بك باللي ترفعت جيت نضرب دورة كاش معاه.
مالا ما جابك غير الطمع.
هذاك ما كان. هو انت زعما جابتك العاطفه الابويه.
His visual and his voice, with his remarkable acting skills and countless hours of cinematography, allowed him to conquer a million Algerian hearts.
صلوا شوفكم بالشان المرفوع من جميع اللي يعلم أرض الجداد راه فيها طمع.
With Moussa Haddad in Les Enfants de Novembre or The Children of November, Ahmed Issa represents the fearless Algerian youth who was aware of the liberating fight for the independence of Algeria. In The Silence of the Ashes by Youssef Sahrawi, Ahmed Ben Issa had revealed the sensitivity towards the matter of the Algerian mother who was searching for her son during the French colonization of Algeria. Then comes Kahla Ubaida, a masterpiece of a movie by Abdurrahman Bouguermouh, and Ahmed Ben Issa occupied the lead character that combines humor, emotions and drama.
اشتراكية الزولية المركزية اللي ما يحتاجوهاش.
كي تقول الاشتراكيه ما تلقى لا مسكين لا مرفه.
A comedian of multiple facets, one-of-a-kind character who lived in and by cinema. His prolific respite is to contribute in the development of the Algerian cinematography and television in the years to come. Today he leaves us, but he will always be present in our memories.
The Moroccan Social Front called on Moroccans to protest on May 29th to denounce the unbearable socio-economic situation and the normalization of relations with the Zionist entity. Rania Al-Bahri once again.
The socio-economic situation in Morocco seems to tread on a tightrope, with more protests continuously gaining ground. The Moroccan Social Front called for a demonstration against injustice, abuse of power, and the overexploitation that the Moroccan working class is subjected to. It is under the slogan against the price increase, the repression, and the normalization with the Zionist entity that the Social Front called on all categories of the Moroccan society to protest and denounce the price hike of fuel and foodstuffs, which, according to the Moroccan Social Front, is the result of a plunder of wealth orchestrated by a handful of privileged people. This demonstration also aims to demand lower fuel prices and the nationalization of the Samir refinery that contributes to Morocco's energy security. The protesters called for the return of stolen funds, including the 17 billion dirhams that were engulfed by the fuel lobby. The Moroccan People's Protest Movement also denounced the repression by which the Makhzen regime wanted to stop the struggle and spread fear among all the different voices. In addition to social and economic demands, the Moroccan people firmly rejected the military and security alliance with the Zionist entity. And to reaffirm its support for the Palestinian people, the Moroccan Social Front also called for the adoption of a law criminalizing the normalization described as an intolerable act.
That was it for our news edition. Thanks for tuning in to our program. Good night.